interested you and grabbed your attention?
Well, it was written very well. That pilot episode, the first episode, was written so well that it grabbed me. I read it, and it was really. I recall, I think there were only 2 shows at that particular time that were coming out that I wanted to be a part of. Unfortunately, I don't remember the other one. It escapes me at this point, but there was only 2 shows, and this was the better written of the 2. I thought it would be interesting, entertaining, and then I found out that Howard was attached to it, and he had done 24, so I knew that it had a nice pedigree. And I knew that NBC was going to give it a shot, at least, to be on television. So then you start adding in Jason and all the rest of us, Wilmer and Beatty and Cherry and Lauren and who am I missing? I'm missing. Okay, good. I'm missing Cherry, Beatty, and me. Yeah. Okay, good. So you add, Dylan. Don't get a little Dylan right there. There we go, Dylan. Sorry, man. You put the whole crop together, and then it just seemed like we would have something that would be a good show on television. My thing is that it seems that people are believing that cable is the way to go if you want to watch something good or you want to watch something interesting. We were speaking earlier about Game of Thrones. The day I've talked about that and Mad Men and Walking Dead and various other shows. And I was hoping that you could create a good show on television, on network, that people would want to tune to and want to watch. And I thought that this show gave me that opportunity, especially if I want to come back to television.
Right.
Well, when you talk about that pedigree, I mean, Kyle, who wrote the pilot, also created Lone Star. And had you seen that? Were you familiar with any of his work?
I was not familiar. I knew he was a very good writer from what I read. I remember in the audition process of meeting him, I even told him as much, even if I wasn't going to be the guy. Lone Star was only on for a hot second, so I didn't really catch it. I remember it was getting a lot of buzz at the time about another dual life sort of thing, but greatly different from our dual life thing. But that's something that he can play in and something he likes to write. But I honestly had never seen it.
Speaking of on the dual world stuff, how do you kind of keep track of your characters in both worlds? That's really not that difficult for me. The guy who has the main issue with that is Jason, because Jason has to hold true to when his wife is around and to when his son is alive, and that is just, for me, in the world where I'm his partner, and that's the world where his son is alive. So I know what's going on. My whole relationship is that the man has lost his wife. So I got that. In the other world where I am, or I will be there intermittently, I'm not his partner, so it's not a thing that I have to deal with, and I understand the dynamic of what's going on. But in both instances, I've been his friend as well as his partner for years, and then they just replaced me to bring in Woman. I still don't know why they did that, but he's a handsome little fellow, so I guess they had to add a little twang to the show, I guess.
Well, I was going to ask, as I recalled in the pilot, you were in both of the worlds, and Wilmer was actually sort of...
He was in both of the worlds too, yeah.
He was in the...
But he's a regular policeman in one, and he's a detective in the other. I am in both worlds, but in the initial one is where we set up the premise that they were getting rid of me to bring in somebody like Wilmer, and I was telling him to watch his back. Okay. So what you will see as the show progresses, you will see me cross back over into the worlds. But I think the reason why they did that, they gave you a splash. Then they need to set up the worlds, because that's the thing that people really, you want them to buy into both of these worlds, and then they can start crossing us back over to fill it back in. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you keep watching until we get to number 13. Okay. Pleasantly surprised.
Well, it's interesting also because I noticed, like, in the week with the guy who's killed the one who his son, a drug dealer. The case was basically the same in both worlds, which it was not in any of the other ones.
I think what you'll find if you've watched the shows, that was the case. Right. You had one where you had the pretty Kate girl, and then you had the girl that was had a drug situation. Right. You're going to have instances where people share the same name, but they're two different people. So it's because it's dealing with the mind, it gives you a lot of room to I don't want to say violate, but to live out there and branch out on what you want to play with in order to keep the two things. But they find a way to keep them connected anyway. They find a way to sort of connect the dots. And that's a testament to all of the writers and the producers and that sort of thing.
Last couple episodes, you're really starting to see at least on Birds End, the seeds of distrust pop up a little bit. Talk about the dynamic.
Well, I mean, it's the season. I don't want to say distrust, but I have to question him. I mean, it's just stupid not to question him. I mean, just to be perfectly honest, he's coming up with these things out of thin air. He's blowing cases that we got locked up with some Fantasy Island stuff, and I think that I have to question him. Now, the issue is, and here's the underlying, we're like brothers, we're connected. So underlying, you still believe in family first. But I have to question what he does. It just happens that it turns out to be correct, at least till now. So far, it turns out to be correct. So it makes it much easier to sort of go along with it.
You have kind of a direction. Do you know where you're going to end up by the end of this? By the end of the season at this point?
I know where this season ends. Yes, I do. No information, but I do know where this season ends.
I was going to respect your choice.
Because we finished shooting it, so I know exactly where this season. That's why I feel firm. I feel strongly in telling you that if you watch, that you will be pleasantly surprised by the end. I think you'll go like, man, okay, that was a nice ride.
Right. I just know there are some showrunners they tell their actors where they're going with the show, or they kind of don't lay it out as much. So I'm curious with the show like this, that's so, you build on.
Yeah, I think it depends on also what kind of actor you are, and because I'm sure they have a through line for what they think. And I think if you wanted to know, you could ask them where they think they're going, and that could change, but you could. I'm not that. I don't. I want to live what we're doing. I want to be able to go moment to moment with it, and I want to experience it. Now, if you give me a script and I'm not necessarily agreeing with it, or I think that we ought to question it, which is sparingly, then I'll go to you and say, well, what's going on? What do you want me to? I mean, how is this supposed to pan out? If I don't have that, but for the most part, that hasn't been the case. It's been, my through line is pretty simple to me. The through line of the show is what I really want people to be involved in and sort of dig, and I think they will.